बोलो सियावर रामचंद्र की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी बनवारी नटवारी। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी बनवारी नटवारी। सिर कनक मुकुट धर श्रुति कुंडल भर प्रेम यमुना निकट तट स्थित वृंदावन काननी महारण्ये तद्रुमतल भूमौ चरणं चरणोपरिस्थाप्य कृष्णन्तं घननीलं स्वतेजसा भासयन्तमिह विश्वम् पीताम्बरपरिधानम् चन्दनकर्पूरलिप्तसर्वाङ्गम् कर्णपूर्णनेत्रम् कुण्डलयुगमण्डितश्रवणम् मन्दस्मितमुखकमलम् कौस्तुभोहारमणिहारम् वलयाङ्गुलीयकार्या ज्वलयन्तं स्वलङ्कारान् गलविलुलितवनमालम् स्वतेजसा भास्कलिकालम् गुञ्जारवारिकलितम् गुञ्जाञ्जिके शिरसि जानं सर्वोपै गुञ्जावर्तिनं नमत मन्दारपुष्पवासित मन्दानिलसेवित परानन्दम् मन्दाकिनीवृतपदम् मदमहानन्दम् महापुरुषम् सुरभीकृतदिग्वलयम् सुरभिषतैरावृतः परितः सुरभीक्षपणमहा सुरभीमं यादवं नमत। बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की, श्री रासेश्वरी राधा रानी की, जगत गुरु श्री कृपालु जी महाराज की, श्री राधा गोविंद धाम की जय जय। श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे।
कस्तूरी तिलकं दलनाथपटि रक्तस्फले कौस्तुभं नासागरे वरुणोदितं जलतले वेणुकरे कङ्कणं सर्वाङ्गे चैतन्यं सुललितं कण्ठे निष्पावति गोपस्मे प्रयुक्तो विजयते स्वामी
बोलो साकेत बिहारी श्री राघवेंद्र सरकार की।
माइक्स को बंद करो। सब वहां से और ऊपर वाला चलाओ स्पीकर। Radhe Radhe to everyone.
Yesterday we got partway through the Ayodhya Kand of this Ram Katha. So where we left off, Ram had left Ayodhya with the Agya of his Pitaji King Dashrath, and accompanying him were Sitaji and Lakshman. So they left, crossing at Shringairpur, visiting the ashram of the great sage Bharadwaj at Prayag, and with the guidance from Maharshi Valmiki, they went on to Chitrakoot, and in Chitrakoot they set up their small dwelling. Can you close the eighth? That is okay. Now, after that, of course, Guha, the Nishad, had been sent back by Ram, and he made his way back to Shringairpur. And there he found that Sumantra was still waiting. He hadn't gone back to Ayodhya yet. And when he saw Guha coming, then his heart fell. He realized that, okay, he's coming back now without Ram. Now there's really no hope of Ram coming back. He's really gone to the forest for 14 years. So then he had to go back to Ayodhya. When he went back, he found King Dashrath in such a state of viraha from Ram that he did not stay in his body for long. There are different reasons for this in every avatar. Just like I told you in the beginning, there are different reasons behind Ram's avatar every time he comes. So one reason in one of Ram's avatar why King Dashrath could not stay in his body due to separation from Ram is that he actually asked for that boon. It appeared before him at the conclusion of his devotion, and he had asked him for the boon of having a son like him. He also asked for this boon, that I should not be able to live without you when you are my son. And in another avatar, there's another Leela that happened where King Dashrath was out hunting in the woods, and he heard a sound. It was actually Shravan Kumar, who was filling up a water jug so he could go and bring water to his blind parents, for whom he cared all the time. So King Dashrath had this skill that he could just hear something, and without being able to see it, he could hit that target. And he thought that sound was the sound of an elephant. And he shot an arrow and he killed Shravan Kumar. But when he got to him, of course, he heard him scream when the arrow entered him, and he realized he'd made a mistake. He rushed over to the spot, and Shravan Kumar's last words were, "Please go, my parents are blind. They're not going to know what happened to me, so please go and tell them what happened, so they are not at least expecting me to come back." And he died. So King Dashrath went and he found them and he admitted what had happened, and out of anger they cursed him that you will also be separated from a loved one, and due to that separation you will die. Dashrath gladly accepted their curse, knowing that this is the way Ram wanted the Leela to go. So at this time, King Dashrath, remembering Ram and just saying Ram's name over and over again, he left his body. So at this time, the sage Vashisht decided that we have to send for Bharat and Shatrughna, because Ram and Lakshman are gone to the forest. Somebody has to do the Shraddh, all the last rites for King Dashrath. So they sent for them. But he gave specific instructions. He said, don't tell Bharat what has happened. Just tell him I'm calling him. Now Bharat had been seeing all kinds of inauspicious omens over since Ram had been told to go to the forest. So he had a feeling something was going on back there in Ayodhya. And when the messengers were sent from Vashisht and all they said to him was, Guruji is calling you, then he knew something has happened. So as fast as they could, Shatrughna accompanying Bharat, they left and traveled to Ayodhya. And when they reached Ayodhya, they saw everyone, all the citizens, totally distraught. Everybody looking like they hadn't eaten in weeks. And when he entered his mother's chambers, he of course asked, what's happening? And she, thinking, still under the influence of Mantara, thinking that, oh, he's going to be so happy that I've claimed the throne for him. So she very happily tells him, oh yes, I caused all of this. I had these two boons, and so I used one to ask the king to make you king, and the other to have him send Ram to the forest. Isn't it great? So Bharat had some very unkind words for his mother at that point. Leaving her, he went and visited Mother Kaushalya, and she tried to comfort him, because now Bharat is thinking, this is all because of me. If I wasn't here, my mother wouldn't have done any of this. She did this because of me. It's because of me Ram was sent to the forest, and all these people are suffering because he's been sent away. First of all to Mother Kaushalya, and she comforted him, saying, no, I know what your heart is. I know your devotion and dedication to Ram. This is not your fault. He went to Guruji, the sage Vashisht, and with his instructions, he performed all the last rites for King Dashrath, including the cremation and all the Vedic ceremonies. And after that, he sat with Vashisht-ji and Mother Kaushalya, and they tried to convince him that it's your own father's agya. Never mind that it was at the behest of Mother Kaikeyi. It's your own father's agya that you become the king. So it is our advice to you that you follow this agya and you become king. And thereby keep your father's word, because he gave his word to Kaikeyi. So you have to now help him keep his word. Bharat said, हाँ वो सब ठीक है, लेकिन that's all fine. But can I just, Guruji, can I just have your permission for one thing? He says, everything you say is correct according to Dham. I just can't bear the thought of Ram being out there, Ram and Sita and Lakshman being out there living the life of ascetics, walking barefoot in the jungle, just eating berries and leaves and fruits and roots and sleeping on the ground. I can't bear that thought. Please allow me permission to go and ask him one time to come back. Vashisht, he said, okay. And Bharat said, please also instruct me, tell me all the items that I will need to coronate him as king. Because when I go there, I'm also going to ask him, you please become king. I don't want to become king. Vashisht ji said, okay. He told him all the things he needs, including holy water to perform the Abhishek of Ram when they're going to crown him as king. So he brought all the required items. He understood the whole procedure for crowning Ram as king. And then he prepared to set out, he and Shatrughna. But the thing was, when word got around that they were going to ask Ram to come back, nobody was going to stay home. All the residents of Ayodhya, all the ones who had followed Ram as far as Shringverpur, are not that far. They came to the river Tamasa, which is halfway to Shringverpur, and then Ram had snuck away in the night. So they have gone back. You're going to meet him? We're also coming. So they also got ready. The whole city. And anyone who was told that, no, I'm going, you stay behind and watch the house. Somebody's got to watch our home and possessions. Those ones who were told that, they said, what's the use of our home and possessions without Ram? I'm coming too. The whole city went along. A huge caravan. So now Bharat and Shatrughna, they had to think how to manage this whole thing. So they brought elephants and horses and chariots although they left, of course, some warriors behind to guard the city, but they also had to bring people along to take care of, and guard all of these people, that nothing should happen. So they set out, and even Mother Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra, they also came. They sat in the palanquins and were carried along the way. At the request of the citizens, Bharat and Shatrughna initially also rode on chariots. And of course, Vashisht ji came along. Amadev ji was another one of the family priests of King Dashrath's family. Vamadev is actually known to be another God Shiva. Shankarji also, he came as Hanumanji. He also came as Vamadev, one of the family priests of Ram's family. So they all set out. And the first night they also camped in the same place on the bank of Pamasa River. Then they kept going and they approached Shringverpur. Now, all the Nishad and Guha, they're 100% dedicated to Ram. And what do they see coming? None other than the very cause of Ram's having gone to the forest, the one was going to be given Bharat, he's approaching with what appears to them to be a full army. That was not Bharat's intention. But when you have that many people and you have horses and chariots and elephants and the whole thing, it looks like you're approaching with a big army. He just jumped to the conclusion that Bharat he's not just happy to be king, he's come to finish the job. So that, he doesn't have to deal with anything when Ram comes back after 14 years. This is what Guha is thinking. So he rallies all of his warriors and he says, this is our day. We're going to die for Ram, or we're going to defeat Bharat in battle. They all got ready. And just when they were about to start this fight, says to Guha that, maybe you should ascertain his intentions first. Maybe, go and talk to him and see what you can figure out about what his true intentions are. So he said, okay, yeah, that's not a bad idea. So then he went forward and he first prostrated to Bharat. And when Bharat saw who it was, he ran to him and he lifted him up and embraced him to his chest. And he said, you've met Ram? Tell me about him. How is he? What has he been doing? Where is he? I can't bear the separation from him. Then Guha understood, oh no, Ram, he's not coming to fight Ram, he's coming to find Ram. He can't bear to be without him. So then he embraced his new friend Bharat and he led everybody into his village of Shringarpur. And after they took a holy bath in Gangaji, then Bharat, he asked him, please show me everywhere Ram has been around here. Just like we would go to a holy place, we could also go to Shringarpur today and we could say, okay, here's the ghat where Ram had bathed. Here's where he got in the boat and went across the river. Here's where he slept. Just like that, Guha led Bharat around by the hand, holding hands. He brought him, said, here's where Ram took a bath in Gangaji. He showed him the actual place under the beautiful Ashok tree where Sita and Ram had lain and where he and Lakshman had kept watch that night. So Bharat, in the very same way we would visit that place and say, Ram slept here. And at that time, it had only been a short time. So the grass that Ram and Sita had laid on was still there. And he could see the little indentation in the grass where they had laid. So he did parikrama of that and felt the blessings he was receiving. And in that way, he passed the whole night talking with Guha and asking him, tell me then what happened and what did he say and what did he do? And then the next day, he traveled with him. Guha now became his travel guide and arranged for, in 1.5 hours, he called so many ferry boats that he ferried everybody across the river, all the Ayodhya Vasis, and of course Bharat and Shatrughna. So then they went on to Prayag, retracing Ram's steps. And when they reached Prayag, the sage Bharadwaj was very happy to meet Ram's brother Bharat. And even though Bharat did not ask for it, he called all the Siddhas, because Bharadwaj is also a divine personality. He has unlimited powers. And he had these Siddhas, basically a whole city right there in the middle of the jungle for all the Ayodhya Vasis to spend the night in, with all the opulences, all the comforts, everything. And it is said that Bharat spent the night, because it was Bharadwaj, he asked him to spend the night in there. So he spent the night in such a comfortable place, but he never touched anything. He just thought of Ram the whole night. This morning, when he went down to Triveni to have a bath and he saw the darkness of the water, to him it seemed just like Ram's complexion. So he felt so much viraha for Ram, all the hairs on his body were standing on end. And he prayed to Mother Ganga. He said that Ram takes me to be a wretch and a vile person. Even if he blames me for everything that has happened, even if the whole world hates me, Gangaji, let that my bhakti for Ram only goes on increasing every second. Examples, Bharat ji is one of the prime examples of what we call ahaituki bhakti. In our scriptures, there are certain conditions of pure bhakti that are described, that a sadhak like us is meant to try to follow as well. So one of those conditions is not to ask God for any worldly thing. That's called nishkam bhakti. But within this realm of nishkam bhakti, there's something very important, ahaituki bhakti. See, earlier in Ramayana, Parvati ji had said another example of, a beautiful example of ahaituki bhakti. Ahaituki means bina hetu ki bhakti. Hetu means you have a prayojan or you have a reason. See, for instance, when Parvati was doing devotion to Lord Shankar to get him as her husband, for years and years she performed austerities and did devotion to Lord Shankar. And her love for Lord Shankar, Naradji and Saptarshi, the 7 original rishis of the earth planet, they came and they tried to test her by saying, why are you so intent on getting Lord Shankar as your husband? He has no way of making you happy. He doesn't even have a proper house to live in. He lives on Mount Kailash under a tree. He doesn't even have proper clothes to wear. He just wears an animal skin. He's always absorbed in his own meditation. He doesn't care. He's not going to lavish any affection on you. He's always absorbed in and of his own self. And not to mention his bhootgarn. Why don't you try to get God Vishnu as your husband? He has all the good qualities, all the opulence. He can make you happy. Forget about getting Shivji as your husband. Was, it doesn't matter to me. None of what you said matters to me. I don't wish to have him as my husband because of anything he's going to give me. I just love him. That's it. There's no other logic to it. I love him and I will love him even if he refuses to accept me as his wife. I will go on loving him forever, even if I have to do devotion to him for uncountable lifetimes. If he doesn't accept me as his wife, then I will remain kunwari. I will remain unmarried. कोटि जन्म लगी रगरी हमारी बारं शंभु नतुरहं कुंवारी. So you see, she's not looking for any particular quality of the beloved, that because of this quality I love him. No, she just loves him. This is ahaituki bhakti. So here, Bharat is showing an example of another facet of ahaituki bhakti. Not only do you not love the beloved just because of their qualities, because what if those qualities disappear? You love someone because they're beautiful and they get old, then what happens to your love? Decreases, your love decreases. So that's not ahaituki bhakti. It's based on that quality. So if the quality diminishes, your love diminishes. Similarly, should not be based on the behavior of the beloved. In bhakti, our love should not be dependent on how God treats us. This is what Bharat was emulating, this type of ahituki bhakti. He says, Ram may blame me. He may call me vile and wretched. He may turn his back on me. Bhakti for him will only go on growing. Ashlishya va padartam pinashtumam madarshanan marmahatam karotu va yatha tatha va vidadhatulam pato mat prananathastu saivana parah. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji says that the gopis had this type of ahituki prem for Shri Krishna. And in the words of a gopi, he says to Shri Krishna that you may embrace me, ashlishyava, you may give me a hug. In other words, you may lavish your affection on me. Or you may yell at me, show me your anger, and tell me to get out. Or you may just ignore me altogether and pretend you don't even know me. 3 types of behavior are possible. My challenge to you is that no matter which type of behavior you adopt, my love for you will never waver. It will always go on growing. Because there is no one for me but you. This is also called ananyata. Ananyata means no other. Where would I go? Love me or hate me? Give me affection or show me anger? Where else do I have to go? Tell me, only you exist for me. This is ahituki bhakti. So Bharat says, I want to be like that chatak bird. Jache barah mas piye papiha swati jal. The chatak bird will only drink water during a 2-week period. When Swati constellation is in the ascendant, in the autumn, at that time, whatever rain falls from the clouds, the chatak bird will drink that. The chatak bird has that kind of ananya prem for Swati constellation. I will only drink the water that falls from Swati. I will not touch anything else. That chatak bird one day was flying around on a very hot day and sat in a tree and then thought, oh no, this tree is nourished by water other than from Swati. I shouldn't sit in this tree. He again starts flying around. It was so hot, he couldn't bear it anymore. He lost consciousness and he was dying from the heat. And as he was falling out of the sky, he happened to be falling into Gangaji. And he thought to himself, oh, I'm dying, but at least I'm falling into Gangaji. I'll get some of Gangaji's water in my mouth and I'll get liberated. And at the last second, he thought, nay, this is not water from Swati. And he turned his beak up and hit the water and died. In other words, perfect ananya prem. Bharatji says, I want to be like that chatak bird in my love for Lord Ram. And I should also be ahituki. See, the chatak bird keeps loving his beloved the whole year long and is waiting for water. In other words, waiting for his beloved to shower his love on him. And what happens? Pavi pahan damini garaji jhari jhakori khari khiji roshana priyatam dosha lakhi tulasi ragahiri. Tulsidas ji says, this chatak bird is so inspiring because He's waiting for the water, waiting for the love from his beloved, and his beloved tests him. He sends some lightning bolts on him. He sends hail on him. He sends dryness on him. In other words, he keeps testing him, just like our beloved may test us. God may give us misfortune in our life. God may give us things that make us uncomfortable or cause us to feel loss or sorrow. But if we are really ahaituki, we will not say, God, why have you done this to me? The papiha, the chatak bird, said, Roshana, never feels angry on his beloved. Priyatama dosha lakhi. Even saying that, oh, look how he's treating me. He's showing me so much anger and doesn't seem to be caring about me at all. It doesn't matter. His love is pure and firm and cannot be shaken by any behavior of his beloved. So Bharatji says, I want to be like that chatak bird. I want to only have love for Ram, no matter how. So hearing this, Gangaji spoke and said, Bharat, you have nothing to worry about, and you are an example for the whole world of the true form of bhakti. But Ram can never turn his face from you. He can never turn his face from a devotee. So again, they set out. And along the way from Prayag, of course, they see when you, the way it's said, the geography is such that when you're coming from the north, of course, Gangaji is first and Yamunaji is here, and then they meet at Prayag, right? But it's too wide. After they meet, it's too wide to cross. So they first had crossed Gangaji in Shringverpur, and then they went down to this place. They went down Ganga, and now they've reached this place, across Yamuna River. So they cross Yamuna River, and then they head out. And they're going through all of these villages, the same villages that Ram had passed through. So imagine just like going on a Tirth Yatra. This is how Bharat was traveling, and now he's only going barefoot. This was the time where after they had crossed Yamuna and started heading towards Chitrakoot, then they had again asked Bharat and Shatrughna, please, how will you walk that far in bare feet? And he said, no. Sir bal chalau dharam asmora, sab te sevak dharma kathora. That's when he said that, no, I'm his servant. I should be touching my head to each of his footprints. There's no possible way for me to sit in the chariot and go over that ground that Ram has been walking on. With me sitting in a chariot? No way. So he walked barefoot even though he was getting blisters. He didn't feel any pain. He just felt the desire to go and meet Ram. And along the way, they passed through, and they were always asking the villagers. The villagers would come and meet them, and Bharat would say, tell me, where did Ram sit? Where did he rest? Where did he walk? And he would go to each one of those places and pay his obeisances. Where did Ram sleep? Where did he spend the night? And like that, he was just going on a Tirth Yatra, visiting all these places that had now become humble since Ram had graced them with his lotus feet. And in this way, they approached Chitrakoot. So they saw Kamadgiri, also called the Chitrakoot mountain, which is part of the Vindhya range. There's a range of mountains in Madhya Pradesh. So this one in Chitrakoot is called Kamadgiri. They were approaching from the north, and Ram, as I told you, had set up his camp to the south of this Kamadgiri, down here in the bend, in a beautiful bend of River Mandakini. So that night, well, Sitaji woke up in the morning and told Ram that I had a dream that Bharat is coming. So they were just thinking about that, and at that time they noticed that there's some kind of big disturbance in the north. And all the birds and animals and everyone, because they don't know it, but there's this huge army of people marching towards Chitrakoot. So it's creating a big disturbance in the forest. All the animals are running and they're all coming into Ram's ashram and all the birds are flying. So they're wondering what's going on. And just then, some of the forest dwelling devotees of Ram, there were many tribes, you could say like primitive tribes, not living in cities like Ayodhya or Mithila, but just living in the forest. So some of them who, of course, they all know and serve Ram, so they saw that Bharat is coming. And to them also it looked like an army. So they came and told Ram that Bharat is approaching with a full army. So hearing this, Ram was just thinking in his head, would he really be coming with an army? My Bharat? No, it's not possible. But Lakshman saw Ram in thought, right? That he was considering what could be his motive for coming with a whole army. So Lakshman stood up and said, don't you worry, I'm going to take care of him. I'm going out right now to face him and put him in his place. He says, you know what happens to everybody? Nahi ko as janma jag mahi prabhuta pai jahi mad nahi. Anyone who receives power, it corrupts them. They become intoxicated with that power and they just want more and more and they fear losing it. The same thing has happened to Bharat. So Ram and Sita both said, you know, we appreciate your enthusiasm, but Ram said, Bharata hi hoi naraj madhu vidhi hari har pad paya. He said, it's simply not possible. Never mind the kingship of Ayodhya. If Bharat were given the status of Brahma or Vishnu or Shiva, even then he wouldn't get the Rajamad, that intoxication of having that status and power. It's impossible. So while they're having this conversation, Bharat is approaching and Guha is explaining to him, he's saying, see that hill over here? Ram lives just on the other side of the hill. And then as they are passing Kamatgiri, then he's saying, you see down there, that in the bend of that river, that's where Ram's hut is. And see that big tree over there? Ram and Sita sit on a naturally prepared seat in that area under that tree, and all the sages come and they tell them stories of Quran and Ved, and every day they have the audience of these great sages. So Bharat is getting more and more excited, and of course Ram came out to meet him, and there's no way to describe what that was like for Bharat to finally be rejoined with Ram after all of this time. There's no way that Tulsidas ji can put it into words, and there's no way that we can understand it. But it was a beautiful meeting between Bharat and Ram. And after that, of course, everyone else who came along also met Ram. And they spent quite a few days there at Chitrakoot with Ram. So what happened once Bharat and Ram met, and all the Ayodhya Vasis were now there in Chitrakoot with Ram, and how did they pass the time and what happened? We'll get to that tomorrow. Bolo Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So we'll have a couple minutes of kirtan and then offer the bhog. Sita Ram, 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 Sita Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sitaram, 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 Bolo Syavar Ramachandra ki. We'll offer bhog. We'll offer bhog now. Tika Didi, tonight's sponsor, please come and offer the bhog. Rahul.